I'm going to tell you guys a story or two stories, which one of the ex-wife of a green energy tycoon has been awarded the modest divorce payment of 300,000 pounds despite her former husband starting his business a decade after they split up. Another one is far more interesting. The ex-wife of Saudi Arabia billionaire is demanding a quota of £1 billion to keep up her luxury lifestyle of private jets, designer clothing, and mansions. Alright, so I put up the links and everything over there so you can take a look on how interesting they are. Well, certainly, you guys know that in my channel I talk about mostly why stuff happen and what are the alternatives and everything. So I will go through like the basic structure of marriage as a contract, whether it's good or not, and the concept of alimony. Anyways, marriage is in fact a contract. I would say it is an insurance of love, but even though in an insurance contract or whatsoever, someone has to pay and someone would get the benefit if things go wrong. So who's paying the premium? This is my question. According to the statistics in 2010, only 3% of the recipient of alimony is man. So alright, simply it is a rule or a law to favor mostly entirely women. According to Wikipedia, alimony is a law introduced in 1754. So according to feminism, men created the patriarchal society and tried to oppress all women. And so technically speaking, alimony should be oppressing women, right? Well, anyways, it's a rebuke on the problem of patriarchy. Yes, patriarchy is such a problem to men, especially alimony. Anyways, the contract of marriage tells you nothing, so you can do whatever you want as long as you guys stay together. But the thing is, if you get divorced, you will have a consequence, like paying alimony and child support and anything. And sometimes you may not get the chance to meet your children or whatsoever, but yeah, that's put aside. Well, the basic problem of marriage is if a couple also ever want to stay together forever and ever, and they could actually do that, they don't have to get married. They just be whatever they want, right? And they stay together. You won't have the social pressure and everything, the pressure from your families, your relatives, and society in general to tell you, alright, you guys have to stay together, because no one would expect you to stay together. And so the couple living together, technically speaking, they do that by their own will. It's real love. So consider about it, if a couple get married, they have all of the social pressure and everything, and tell them you guys stay together. Well, maybe quite a lot of them, they still like the unmarried couple, but now they have a duty. They have a duty to stay together because of the social pressure, the social expectation. So what does it mean? It means that their partnership is not only about themselves, about whether they love each other or not. It's also about the social expectations of the family, friends, and everyone. And certainly, there's also something to do with the binding contract you signed under the country, the state, which if you get divorced or separate in the previous case, you will have some problem, which is alimony and everything. So from the perspective of real love, the first one, unmarried couple, they could choose to love or not without the pressure, expectation of the society, while the married couple, their love or their partnership is not only about love between them, it's also about the social expectation and the contract written by the government, such that you have a fine, at least one of them usually will have a fine on the divorce or separation. I don't argue anything. I just argue one single point. In the contract of real true love, which will reflect a real true love? Anyways, this is an open question, and I won't expect anyone to answer it because no one really think about it very carefully, and everyone just accept marriage by its face value because it's everyone tells you you should do that. Alright, so let's move on to alimony. Alimony is something favor the poor in a sense because you don't have to work as long as the law is in here. You get paid without having to work. It was just for the concept because in the old days, well, certainly there is a patriarchal society. It's very difficult for women to get a job or whatsoever. But well, in the old days, the mode of production is not only getting a job. It's also like working in the farm or whatsoever. So there's no sexual discrimination or less sexual discrimination in the old days because you always need more manpower, and that's why there is a patriarchal society trying to keeping the population up because you need more people to farm. Anyways, the woman get paid is basically because she lost the mode of production. She lost having a career to take care of her husband and certain children. Well, some more detail as I state here, in the old days, people can't get divorces, so if they get married, it is a lifetime thing, so you can't regret. You can't regret. It sucks, it sucks, it sucks. But anyway, so people want to get divorced, they want to separate so desperately. So the problem is, when people get divorced, they found that, like, especially the women, they don't know how to make a live. So it is a problem. It is a social problem. It's a big problem for the society. As usual, the government doesn't want to pay them, and so they make their ex-spouse to pay them. How do they make this ex-spouse to pay them? They have all the guns and everything, right? So they can. If you look into the philosophy of Alimony, you can't really find a solid philosophical foundation on why people have to pay alimony. I also put a link to the one of the materials I read, which is in the Justice Department of Canada. Is about the family law, and it's about developing spousal support guideline in Canada. There is a pretty good discussion on this issue, and also if you're interested, you can take a look on the Stanford Encyclopedia of Philosophy, and you could find quite some source on marriage, and if you read everything, then you will know my the arguments I present in here in more detail. Anyway, overall, the reason why alimony is need is because it's need. It's nothing more than that. It's no logic, no rationale at all. They just want the money, and that's all about it. If a man, well, 97% of the case, according to the statistics in 2010, right? 97% of the case, the man divorces the woman, and he has to pay. There are several arguments on why alimony is needed. Like, they can't develop their career because they stay home as wife and taking care of their children at home, and so at the same time the guy get the advantage on just his career. So the woman can develop her career basically to spend her time. And in the very beginning, because the marriage is a contract which is supposed to be good forever, so technically speaking, you don't really have to think about it during the marriage. You don't have to care about your future, but the future of the family as a whole. Another argument is like marriage is a kind of a joint force, so the breakup of the joint force hamper the plan of the one who is not working and getting paid. And therefore they should be compensated. Certainly there are a lot of arguments out there. It is like if someone get laid off, the company won't pay him forever because no one's going to do that. So why it is in marriage? It doesn't make sense at all. But well, if you take a look on those cases in Canada, especially in Canada, lots of them they're quite screwed up. The judge always favor the women, and as long as the women ask for it, the judge will order the man to pay no matter what. There was a very famous example, even a woman cheat on her husband, and the guy is not the biological father of the children, he still has to pay child support, according to the judge, because the child needs it. Yeah, this is Canada. If you're poor, you can rob the bank because you need it. Yeah, that's the faulty logic for the judge here in Canada. I don't know how it could be working, but as a person like me, I haven't studied philosophy or law or whatsoever at all. I don't think it is right to rob a bank, and I don't think it is right to pay for child support for a child which has nothing to do with you but your ex-wife. Anyway, so getting back to these two examples, two cases. So a guy started his business years after divorce, and he still has to pay the alimony after like 25 years, something like that. To me, it is totally beyond my imagination why this judge would even take this case. Simply in this case, the alimony is treated as an expired lottery ticket. Although I personally disagree with alimony, but the thing is like even in the case alimony is essential to women or whosoever, it doesn't mean that the spouse should support the other forever or ex-spouse, so to speak. Why is that? Because everyone has the responsibility to be responsible for himself or herself. Say when someone's getting to adulthood after age of 18 or 20, he has to support his life. Well, certainly unless their parents want to, but if their parents don't want to, they should do it by themselves. And certainly, if a couple get divorced, it means that they are not going to take care of each other anymore. Both of them get divorced and remarried later on. And so, even in a sense, marriage is a lifelong commitment. They are committed to the others already, right? So, it doesn't make sense anymore. After 20 years of the divorce, the woman or the ex-wife could still claim the alimony from his ex-husband. If the guy don't appeal or fail to appeal or whatsoever, this case will be the stepping stone for abusing the system of alimony. If you get rich, try not to be famous because you will be recognized by your ex-wife. I think that's the moral of this story. So another story, the ex-model demanded $250 million to keep up her luxury lifestyle, including private jets. Alright, now, so think about all these cases and the initial goal, the objective of why alimony is in place. You see that alimony maybe serves some of the goal, but it could be abused. It's because alimony itself, it doesn't have any solid philosophical ground. Why you are supposed to have the same living standard before and after you get married? It doesn't make sense at all. If you treat marriage as a job or whatsoever, a career, and if you get fired or lay off or whatsoever from the job, your living standard is not going up, it's not staying there, it's going down usually. So why would The ex-spouse have to pay you to keep up your living standard. When you look at the case of this Saudi Arabian millionaire and the model, the richer one, he or she shared the resources with you. It doesn't mean that you're entitled to his or her resources forever and ever. The ultimate logic of alimony is they need it. Don't question why, because they need it. And we at the government, we have the guns. I believe it is one of the primary reasons why so many men and women don't want to get married, because they don't want to get the trouble of alimony. It's a lifetime debt. No one wanted that, right? After they finish their school and everything, there's more debt. Seriously? No. So don't ask why the man or woman don't want to get married, because the current law, the contract of marriage is so fucked up. This is philosophy. The only thing I can promise is a dystopia.